Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
In this video we're looking at issue 12 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. We'll be building and painting up the new Stormstrike Chariot that comes with it for the Stormcast Eternals, and then you can see that in our battle report later on. So having a look through the magazine, we start off with some information about realm gates, which are portals between the various mortal realms and elsewhere, which allow people to move between them. And they come in all sorts of shapes, forms and sizes, and some of them have been lost and hidden. And the beginning of the Age of Sigmar saw the realm gate wars, where Sigmar, in striking out against the forces of Chaos to try and retake the mortal realms, fought for control of the realm gates that controlled the access between them. But there are also other ways to move between the realms, such as the whirlways, which are mysterious undersea portals used by the Idoneth Deepkin, some elves that live under the sea. The Stormcast Eternals drive on bolts of lightning from the realm of heavens without needing a realm gate and return there when they're slain. The Skaven engineer portals using their arcane technology called Gnorholes, and the Demons of Chaos can just rip a hole in reality whenever they feel like and appear directly from the realm of Chaos like that. We have some more background on the Kruleboyz. Their society is based basically entirely on looting and fighting, so that everything they have is things that they have stolen from someone else, and they like nothing more than beating an enemy and then nicking all their stuff, although they find the Stormcast Eternals to be a little bit disappointing because all their equipment disappears with them when they die. And like all forces of destruction, they hate civilization and like to tear down anything resembling it whenever possible. And they're also ingenious, using some things like we've already seen, like their grenades and crossbows and other ingenious weapons of war. We have the background and battle record for the Stormstrike Chariot now. These are swift chariots pulled by griff chargers and ridden by veteran warriors of the Angelos conclaves, which tend to be some of the swiftest units in the Stormcast Stormhosts. So as usual, there's some tables you can roll on for origins of the crew. And over the page some traits for them and some deeds for the chariot. We have its build guide as well. It is a push-together model, but it does have quite a lot of parts, so you do need to be careful with some of them. They're a little bit fragile. And it does suggest building it in 5 sub-assemblies: the chariot, the 2 griff chargers, and the 2 crew. So you've got the griff chargers here and the crewmen, and be careful with the bow. There is also the option of making it with a spear, although it doesn't mention that in here, so we've gone with the bow, but you will get some spare parts to make that. And there it is finished. It does suggest leaving them not glued together because you might have to take them off to paint other bits later on. And then its painting guide. So it suggests undercoating the different parts differently, using retributor armour for the crew, lead belcher for the chariot, and catachan flesh for the griff chargers. But then painting it with much the same colours as before, so using Cantor blue, retributor armour, catachan flesh, and lead belcher and Corex white. And there it is, up to this point, painted there. So now I'll hand you over to Mike, and we will go straight into our game this issue.
Well, we don't actually have any new game rules to learn today. We will get to the war score for the chariot in a little bit. So today's mission line breaker is just combining all the rules we've learned so far. We've got the Lord Imperatant and Griffhound with the Knight Arcanum and the Stormstrike Chariot going up against the entire Kruleboyz force, I believe. The Killer Boss and Stabgrot, the Swamp Caller, Shaman and Potgrot, the 10 Gut Rippers, the 10 Hobgrots and the Beast Skewer Killbow. And there you can see the deployment, the battle mat laid out. So across the top we've got the Beast Skewer Killbow with the Gut Rippers facing the Lord Imperatant. In the middle is the Killer Boss and the Knight Arcanum. And at the bottom row we've got the Swamp Caller Shaman, the Hobgrot Slitters and the Stormstrike Chariot. So the game will last for 5 battle rounds, unless one side has been wiped out, in which case the other side wins. Both sides still have models remaining. It's a draw at the end of the 5th battle round. So we've got some new war scrolls. The Knight Arcanum is the same as usual, but she's Bravery 8. And then the Stormstrike Chariot, so it's got a 12-inch move, 12 wounds and 3+ save and Bravery 7. So it's pretty beefy. It has the Great Stormbow, which has an 18-inch range, 2 attacks that hit and wound on 3s with marginal rend 1 damage. And it has 2 melee weapons. The Stormstrike Axe has basically the same profile as the bow, but it only has a 1-inch range and has 3 attacks instead of 2. And then the Razor Beaks and Claws that the Griff Chargers have 6 attacks, hitting and wounding on 3s with -2 rend and 1 damage. So it gives an example of the first turn, which goes over all of the phases. Just remember to do the battle rock phase even in the Stormcast turn if the Kruleboyz units have taken any casualties. And the next 2 pages covering the Kruleboyz turn, we have war scrolls for the Killer Boss and the Swamp Caller Shaman, just showing that the Killer Boss is Bravery 7 and the Shaman's Bravery 6. Once again, even though they have companions, they still only count as single models, so that's not going to be too relevant for now. And then their turn sequence is exactly the same. So fairly quick intro. I'll get the board set up and get straight into it. So here we have our forces deployed. So in the top left I've got the Dragon Breaker, the Killbow. I'll go down the second column. We've got Murk-Eyed Storm Chasers, Morlek and Kneebiter, and then Rax Bane Slitters, and then just off to the bottom left is Gormrog the Great and Stugit. And then on the right, in the top right, we have Helio Hammerfist, and then the Night Arcanum Breya Starfang. And just down here we have our new Stormstrike Chariot. This is the Cleansing Light, ridden by Galina and Balthazar. So Balthazar's the bowman, Galina the driver. But the Stormcast get to go first. So we're into Stormcast turn 1.
So starting in my hero phase, we'll try and cast Mystic Shield with the Night Arcanum. She gets it with a 6, it's the minimum needed.
Gormrog will try to unbind it. He fails, so it is successful.
We'll put that on the Lord Imperatant. Then in the movement phase, the Cleansing Light, the Chariot has moved up to 3 inches away from Hobgrots, and the Night Arcanum, Breya Starfang, she ran to follow it. She doesn't particularly want to go take on the Killer Boss by herself. While Helio Hammerfist on the other side has just moved up normally. We've got the shooting phase first, and we'll start with the Stormstrike Chariot with its bow. It's just within 18 of the Killbow in the top corner there, so we'll shoot at that. So 2 bow shots hitting on 3s. They both hit, and wounding on 3s. They both wound with a rend -1.
So 6+ armour. Didn't make either, it's down to 3 wounds.
And the Lord Imperatant will call some lightning on the Killbow as well. So D6 shots, 4, which also hit on 3s. No, only 1, and wounds on the 3. That's a wound.
6+ armour again. Oh, we made it.
That brings us to the charge phase. So the Chariot's going to charge into the Hobgrots, and the Lord Imperatant's going to try and charge into the Gut Rippers. So the Chariot rolls an 8, we need a 3, and the Lord Imperatant only rolls a 6. I think that's probably a fail. So the Cleansing Light makes it in like that, and the Lord Imperatant is stuck over there. So we've only got one thing to fight with. So I'll roll all the attacks from the Axe and the Griff Chargers all at once, because the Griff Chargers have better rend, but the Hobgrots only have a 6+ save anyway, so it's all be the same. 9 attacks total, hitting on 3s. Only got 4 hits, wounding on 3s. Well, that'll be 4 dead, because they don't get a save.
Well, the 6 remaining Hobgrots that aren't savaged by Griff Chargers get to strike back, so we've got 13 attacks, looking for 4s. 8 hits, wounding on 5s. 3 wounds.
The 3+ saves. It takes a wound, it's down to 11.
So that's all the fighting, but having lost 4 members, Rax Bane Slitters have to make a Battletop test. So they're Bravery 4, and they've lost 4, so they all run away. So with the Hobgrots showing everyone what they're made of, we're on to the Crawl Boys' turn. Now starting off, Gormrog's going to try and cast Arcane Bolt. He succeeds with a 5.
The Breya Starfang will try and unbind it, needing more than a 5. Yeah, got a 6.
So the only movement in my turn is that Morlek and Kneebiter are going to go after the Chariot, and the Gut Rippers are going to go after the Lord Imperatant. Not going to move the Shaman up yet, because I think he'll just get savaged by those Griff Charges if I do get him into melee. But in the shooting phase, the Dragon Breaker gets to shoot at the Chariot. So 1 shot hitting on 2, hit, wounds on 3, it does, -2.
So a 5+ save, that will make it.
Well, then we're on the charge phase. Morlek and the Gut Rippers both going to charge, and Morlek will go after the Chariot, and Gut Rippers after the Lord Imperatant if they succeed. So Morlek's charge, 7 is enough, and the Gut Rippers, 5 is enough. So you can see up the top, Gut Rippers have gone into the Lord Imperatant, Morlek's into the Chariot. I'm going to pick the Gut Rippers to go first, so they can get their full amount of attacks before the Lord Imperatant kills any. 21 attacks from the Gut Rippers, looking for 4s, 6s do mortal wounds instead. So we've got 3 mortal wounds and 7 regular hits that wound on 4s, getting 2.
And then 2+ saves thanks to Mystic Shield. Oh, we would roll 1. So it takes 4 wounds, he's down to 3. Well, I'll do the Chariot next, I suppose. To roll these separately, we'll start with the Axe, so on 3s. 3 hits, wounding on 3s, on 3 wounds, -1.
So 3 4+s, made 1, Morlek's down to 4.
And 6 attacks from the Griff Chargers on 3s. They all hit. And wounding on 3s. Only 3, but these are N -2.
Well, he won't die yet. So 5s, made 1, down to 2 wounds. And then Morlek gets to hit back. 4 attacks with his Boss Hacker, hitting on 3s. Well, they all hit. And they wound on 3s. 2 wounds.
With 5s to save, made 1, so 2 damage. Yeah, so it's only red -1, so actually I made both those saves.
Yeah. And then Kneebiter, the hero we need, hits on 4s, getting 1. And wounding on a 4. He does.
3 to save, of course. So that just leaves me with the Lord Imperator to go. So doing his hammer first, 4 attacks hitting on 3s. They will hit. And wound on 3s. 3 wounds with run -1.
Yeah, so 6s. No, so that's going to be 3 dead Oryx.
And then the Gryph-hound, Dauntless, hits on 3s twice and wounds on 4s. 1.
5+. No, so another guy gets wounded. Well, I don't think we came out of that fight phase too well, but the Gut Rippers have to take a Battleshock test. They're bravery 5 and they lost 3, so I rolled 6, so that's a 9, so 4 more run away. Well, I would say it's not going too well for me at this point as we head into Stormcast turn 2.
In the hero phase, try and cast Mystic Shield again, needing a 6. We'll get a 6.
Try and unbind it, needing a 7. No.
We'll put that on the chariot this time. Both of my engaged units will stay in melee, and the Knight Arcanum has just moved up to help tackle the killer boss, but we've got some shooting first. They both have to shoot the units they're engaged with, so we'll start with the chariot. 2 shots on 3s. Yes, and 3s. Just 1.
4+ save. No. Down to 1 wound on Morlek.
And the Lord Imperator gets 1 shot, which hits on 3, and wounds on 3 as well, yes.
6+ save. No. Or it takes a wound. The previously wounded man ran away.
So the Knight Arcanum will now attempt to charge. She gets in. So she'll charge to the other side, so she's closer to the other Cruel Boy stuff. But I'll pick the chariot to fight first. All the Gryph chargers are the most likely to kill him. They hit only 3 times. Difference. We get only 1 wound though with the Gryph chargers.
4, 5. No, it's dead. I've already got Murkai and 2 remaining Storm Chasers, so we'll see if we can get lucky and poison the Lord Imperator. 7 attacks from the remaining Gut Rippers. We're looking for 4s and 62 mortal wounds. Oh, we got a mortal wound and 2 hits. And a wound on 4s. No, just a mortal wound. Down to 2 on the Lord Imperator.
And then he gets to fight back, so with his hammer, he hits 3 times. Wounding on 3s, just 1.
Ooh. 6+. No, so he'll kill 1.
And the Gryph charger hits 3 times. Wounding on 4s, just 1.
5+. Oh, it's just going to be Murkai left then. Well, Murkai, the one remaining Storm Chaser, has to make a Battleshock test. Bravery 5, and he's lost 2 of his friends. So he's okay. That's only a 4. Yay, I made a Battleshock test. Well, and then it's straight to the Cruel Boy's turn. Golmol's going to try and cast Arcane Bolt. He gets it with a 7, possibly the highest he's ever rolled.
Try and unbind. Yes, with a 10.
Movement. Oh, we'll just move Golmrog up to be 3 inches away from the Knight Arcanum. And then the Killer Bow is going to shoot at her. 1 shot hitting on a 2. It hit. Wounds on a 3. It does not. Well, in the charge phase, Golmrog is going to go into just the Knight Arcanum. So, well, he didn't whiff his charge. So he's going to charge in like that, and he's just going to be within half an inch of the Knight Arcanum, but more than 3 inches away from the chariot, so he didn't pull that in. And I think I'll pick Golmrog's to go first. Well, Golmrog's got 2 attacks with his staff, hitting on 3s, hitting 1, wounds on 3, it does, and -1.
4+ save, no.
Ooh, D3 damage, 2.
Down to 4.
And Stugit gets 2 attacks with his backup stabber, getting a hit, and a wound.
3+, yes. So Helio Hammer Fist will try and bludgeon the last remaining Gut Ripper to death. 3s with his hammer, he only hit once. Wounds on a 3, that's a wound.
6+, no.
And then finally we've got the Knight Arcanum. And she has 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. They all hit, and they wound on 3s, only once.
6+ save, no.
Also D3 damage, 2.
Down to 4 on Golmrog. Well, and that's it for Battle Round 2. On to Stormcast turn 3.
So she put Mystic Shield on herself, and then in the movement phase, both the Chariot and the Lord Imperator are going after the kill bow. They will both shoot at it as well in the shooting phase. So starting with the Chariot, we hit twice, wounding on 3s, 1.
6+, no, down to 2.
And the Lord Imperator's Rod gets 3 shots, hit on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s, 1.
6+ again, no, down to 1.
And then on to charge phase, well, both of those units will charge. Start with Lord Imperator, because if he gets in, the Chariot can go and fight the Shaman instead, though it's pretty unlikely. He's going to need about an 11. Oh, alright, 12.
There you go, he's mad.
And then the Chariot rolls a 9. Well, he's going to go into the Shaman. Yeah, so stupendous charge from the Lord Imperator means the Chariot's free to go and help out Breya Starfang over there. And we will do the Chariot first, I think. So 3 attacks from the axe, which all hit, and wounding on 3s, only 1.
6+, No, down to 3.
And the Griff Chargers hit on 3s. You get 6 hits and wounding on 3s.
Oh, he's dead.
Yes, 6 wounds with Ren -2.
So Stewgate gets trampled and Gornrog runs away. I think that's the power dynamic they have. Well, look out, the Killbow gets to strike back in melee. 3 attacks from the Killbow on 4s, 3 hits. And 4s. 2 wounds, better in melee than just shooting.
2 3+ saves. Oh, we nearly died. But now can he get it back? Attacks with a hammer, we're going to get 2 hits. 3s, or 2 wounds.
There we go, double 6 to live. No. Well, no casualties for the Stormcast, definitely a Stormcast victory. I'll recap that game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 12 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. How did you think that went?
Well, obviously not too bad. The Chariot was pretty impressive, but I think I was helped by some poor battleshot rolls from you. 2 6s.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not too surprised by the outcome. Well, the Hogrots all ran away, but I never expect much from them. Was probably unlucky with the Gut Rippers. I think they should have. If there were more of them had survived, I think they probably would have killed the Lord Imperator. Yeah. Kind of relying on them to do it. But Shaman didn't do anything either. Did some damage, but he completely failed to cast Arcane Bolt. And the Killer Bow did 1 wound in melee. Sort of sums up how the game went, really. But yeah, I'm not too surprised because the Chariot is a big bundle of wounds that does a lot of attacks. I think only it would really struggle with is the Gut Rippers. If it charged into all of them, it would get bogged down by them at the very least.
Yeah, it's got enough wounds that they're not going to kill it in 1 or 2 rounds of combat, probably, but it's not going to kill them quickly either. You need a bit more than that.
To be honest, the 2 riders aren't that impressive. It's the Griff Chargers that do all the damage. And it's very scary. It has an ability that makes it do mortal wounds when it charges. It's going to be really powerful in that case, I think. Yeah,
the Griff Chargers with their rend are actually pretty scary with 6 attacks. The bow's useful. I mean, 2 shooting attacks with rend at distance is okay for picking off, doing wounds to the Killer Bow, or I could have shot at the Shaman instead.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a shame that you get Lux the Storm Rider and the Truth Seekers first, because the bow here looks a bit mediocre in comparison.
Yes. I think one of its main advantages is its speed as well, because all the Stormcast units we've had so far have been for 5-inch move, which is quite slow, particularly when we get to bigger boards. They trudge around fairly slowly. Having a 12-inch move, 12 wound thing that has decent damage output is pretty handy. So it will add that dimension to the Stormcast force that is not always that obvious with them. So hopefully it'll be handy later. On a small board like this, it can basically just go wherever it needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, probably its only issue is that it is incapable of flying, so that does limit where it can go.
Yeah, it's got quite a big base, so you can block it off from certain areas of the battlefield just by putting units nearby, because it still can't get within 3 inches of them. Yeah, overall, kind of fun to use as well, so we'll see how that does in future issues.
Yeah, it's another very fantasy thing. The bowman's definitely got the plumed helmet. Almost, if you squint hard enough, you could pretend he's a Roman.
Yeah, I do actually really like the aesthetic of it. It does look like a kind of Iron Age, just Bronze Age chariot kind of design.
I really like the model as well. Although I would say, and if you're going to follow this magazine and play along with it while following the painting guides, I would just use blue tack to keep the riders on, because slotting them into the base and then getting them out again over and over again is actually just going to be a huge pain. If you're going to keep taking them off to paint them, I would 100% use blue tack, or just keep them on and do your best.
Yeah, because we will be adding more colours to them, which are going to be in some tricky places. Just looking at it, there's going to be some awkward holes.
But it does initially recommend keeping them all basically 5 sub-assemblies with the 2 riders, the chariots, and the 2 Griff Chargers. And that does make it all very easy to paint, but putting it together to play with it and then taking it apart again is pretty difficult. And I would recommend putting the driver on first. It was slightly easier to get her in first, and then put the bowman in, just due to the way she's attached to it.
And it's also another issue with excellent value for money, because you get a whole chariot with a single issue for £8 or £9 or local equivalent.
Yeah, and it's another £25-ish model, I think, maybe £22.50. I think it's basically the same price as the Killbow. No new rules to talk over, so I don't think there's too much more to say about this game or this issue. So as always, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. Tell us how you've been getting on with Stormbringer if you're collecting it as well. And we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.